who goes after a girl significantly younger than them is severely lacking in their life. And I mean that confidence wise. I mean, like, they are falling short in so many places that is the only place they can turn to feel like they have something on the scale of power.
And ultimately it's predatory. I mean, there's just no way to kind of, because you're manipulating someone who is not aware of what they're giving you. Yeah. And it's
What do you think about that?
It's an interesting point to raise, but all I can think back to is the time we watched, I don't know if it was Pearl's podcast, and them guys were talking about it, and they were saying the reasons why they like younger women. I get the point the second girl made of it could be seen as a bit more manipulating, because obviously younger girls haven't had as much experience and stuff, and you can they are easier to manipulate than women who have had years of experience and they just know a lot more. They're a lot more wiser because they've been through a lot more.
Yeah.
I don't know necessarily if they do it to get to a place of power. Maybe men are just attracted to more younger women. I don't know. I can't speak from a male's point of view, but I get the points. I can't say I agree with it, but I can't say I disagree with it.
No, that's a fair take. My problem with what they're saying is that you can apply the exact same thing to girls that date much older guys, because you could say, oh, these men maybe they're lonely, but they have a lot of money and resources, and these younger girls see that, and they see they can exploit them for their money and resources as they're aging, and just give them their body basically as payment and get access to all of those resources. Now, I would say that that's pretty predatory as well. Just because he's older doesn't mean that's not predatory. I wouldn't say that's the case for all women, and I wouldn't say it's the case for all men that they're being predatory. If a guy likes a girl that is maybe 5-6 years younger than him, obviously if she's if she's just turned 18, then there's going to be a problem there. I find that weird, but it's not illegal. I do find it weird. I don't hear the same energy from Emily Ratajkowski, whatever her name is, and Mia Khalifa when it comes to girls dating much older men. And we know that girls like dating older guys. They never really even specify how much older. I mean, I know people that are 20 dating 40-year-olds and nobody bats an eye. They'll say stuff about the guy. A 20-year-old is old enough to know what they're doing as well. And a 20-year-old is old enough to manipulate an older guy that maybe hasn't had that much luck with women, but can provide security. So my only problem with it is that the conversation tends to be one-sided. I think that girls that are significantly younger than their male partners, if we're going to apply that logic to men, then I think we should probably apply it to women. Would you say that's fair?
I think the point you're making is fair, but I think the point only stands if a girl was going for, say, a rich man. If she's not going for a rich man, but she's just going for an older man, then not necessarily, because maybe she just wants somebody that's a bit more mature, or maybe is going to handle her a bit better.
But what if he just wants somebody that's been, like, as they say, right? It's not that I'm saying that I agree with it, but what if their stance is, I want a woman that hasn't been with multiple men and isn't as well traveled. I want her to do that all with me.
Yeah.
If a guy says that to a girl or a woman, they'll say, oh, he's insecure, he's predatory, he's manipulative. But if then I say to you, and he doesn't have to be rich, just has to have resources, maybe a house, a car, access to things that she probably doesn't have, you won't hear them say, oh, it's predatory, it's manipulative.
But people do, though. When girls go with older men, people always have something to say about it.
They only say it when it's so significant that we obviously know the guy's going to croak and she's going to take all this stuff. But if we're looking at, like, let's say, for example, a 35-year-old and a 21-year-old, right? They'll call him a predator. They'll say it's predatory, it's manipulative, and I would be willing to listen to the argument. My problem is that when the roles are reversed and the girl's going out of a significantly older guy who doesn't even have to be rich but is well established in his field, maybe not even well established in his field, just has resources to certain things, a car, a house, a bit of money, and a bit more experience so he knows what he's doing in certain areas, and maybe he hasn't been as lucky with women, we don't hear them saying, oh, this is you're exploiting these guys. So my problem is with the hypocrisy of the conversation, because we've heard it a lot, especially with the rise of this red pill culture, who we've done videos on before. I don't really agree with a lot of the things that goes on there. But I think it's unfair to demonize these men for wanting to date girls that are younger than them, but then not really having the same energy for women that do it. I mean, there's everyday women everyday girls 23, 24 that are dating guys that are 45. Now, I understand that you would look at a guy and go, oh, she's young, she doesn't know what she's doing, but 23-year-olds know exactly what they're doing. They do. I think the conversation is, I'm only willing to entertain the conversation if we look at it the same way for both. Girls can be manipulative as well, we know that. If a girl knows that she's hot and she's good looking, that's all she really needs to manipulate a guy, right? We know that guys are easy to manipulate when it comes to those sort of things. So I think it's fair to look at it both ways. I think Mia, I've watched that entirety of that podcast. It's a bit mind-numbing, to be honest with you, but I don't like the hypocrisy. That's my main point.